Right, good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to the next session on Java. So in the previous session, we have completed the topic of polymorphism. We have seen that the polymorphism is of two types, static and dynamic, and where the static polymorphism can be done by using the method overloading concept, where the same program, same class, same method name with different parameter profile. So there we have to show the difference in terms of type of parameters, number of parameters, order of parameters. And whereas in the case of runtime polymorphism, the example is that method overriding, where we need to have a same program with the different classes, and among the different classes, we need to have a same method name. But the thing is that both the classes should be in inheritance relation. So this is what we have discussed with some sort of examples in the previous session. So if anybody is missing the previous session, please watch the previous session, go through the video, which was kept in our college YouTube channel. So here in today's session, we are going to discuss about the concept of abstract classes. Sorry, before going to see about the abstract classes, let us discuss about what is a constructor, right? Let us discuss about constructors, and then we will cover the topic of overloading of constructors. So we are going to see the topics constructors and constructors overloading in today's session. So here, first let us start with the constructors. The concept of constructors, the first point is that it is a special type of method. It is a special type of method. And the second one is that constructors do not have return type. So constructors do not have return type, where name of the method is same as class name. So these are the first three most important points for a constructor. So it is a special type of method, right, where the constructors do not have return type, and name of the method should be same as class name. So let us see, let us work with the programming parallelly, right? See here, if you observe this method, right, if you observe with this method, I'm deleting entire part of the program apart from this method. See here, if you observe this one, there are 4 parts in this method, right? There are 4 parts in this method. So the first one is that, right, the first one is that it is a return type of the method. It is a return type of the method. And then the second one is that name of the method. Second one, name of the method, right? And the third one is that parameters of the method, and it is the third one within the braces. It is called as these are called as parameters of the method. Parameters of the method. And then the fourth one is that, right, it is the body of the method. So these are the 4 parts that a method, or we can call it as a function in programming languages. These are the 4 parts that a method or function will have in every programming language. It may be C or C++ or Java or Python, etc. In every programming language, we need to have a method similar to this one. There should be one return type. There should be one name. Parameters is optional. It depends upon our need. When we want the parameters, we can have parameters within the method definition, or when we don't want the parameters, we just left them alone. So, and the fourth part is that method body. See here, coming to the return type, For example, if it is a method body, after executing this entire body, if integer value is written to the compiler, then we have to write the return type as int. If the entire body gets executed, in case after executing such a method, if a floating point value has been written to the compiler, then we have to mention the return type as float, right? Or if after executing the entire method, if a character is going to be written to the compiler, then we have to maintain the return type as character. In case after executing the entire method, if nothing is going to be written to the compiler, in such cases, we maintain void as a return type, right? So void tells the compiler that this method is going to return nothing. Int tells the compiler this method is going to return an integer value. Float tells the compiler this method is going to return a floating point value, right? So this return type may be int, float, character, or something else, right? So if the method do not return anything, then we maintain void as a return type, right? And next one, coming to the name, right? The name should be, we can have any name as a method name other than keywords. We cannot have keywords as method names. For example, int is a keyword in Java programming language, which is used to define integers. We cannot have void int as a method name. Or we cannot have fur as a method name, because fur is an keyword in Java, right? So apart from these keywords, we can have anything as a method name. Generally, in Java programming language, method names start with small letter, generally. But we can also maintain the capital letter. It will not be an error. But generally, class names in Java will start with small letters. And the third part is that parameters. So if we want to have a parameters, we can have it. If you don't want the parameters, we can left the parenthesis empty. And the fourth part is that body of the method, right? So the entire thing between these two braces, is called as body of the method. So we can have a empty body, or we can have a single statement, or we can have 10 statements, or we can have n number of statements. So it is not mandated to have a restricted number of lines in the body of a method. We can have any number of lines or any number of instructions that we want to have inside the body, we can have, right? So these are the four parts of a method. Now, what we have seen about the constructor, right? A constructor is a special method, right? See here, a constructor is a special method where the name of the class is same as method name. Just a second. Right, see here, it is a special type of method. Constructors do not have return type where the name of the method is same as class name. So these are the 3 points we have studied till now regarding a constructor. See here, in the previous session, I have declared a class A, right? Inside class A, I have defined a method M, that is void M, and that if that void M is got executed, good morning will be printed on the output stream. So I want to convert this as a constructor. So it is a method. We also see that it is a special type of method. Constructor is also similar to the method, but it is somewhat special other than methods, right? So here it is a special type of method. Constructors do not have return type. If you want to make this one as a constructor, just remove the return type. It should not have a return type, even void also. So the next one is that the name of the method is same as class name. So here the name of the method is M. So in order to make it as a constructor, we need to change the method name M to the class name. Here the name of the class is capital A, then we need to have the method name also as capital A. Similar to the body of the method, constructors will also have some body, right? So this is how we can declare a constructor, right? See here in this class, I want to declare a method. See, in this class, I want to declare a method, and at the same time, I want to declare a constructor also, right? I have declared a method and a constructor. So if the method got executed, it will print good evening on the output screen. If the constructor got executed, right? If the constructor got executed, it will print good morning on the output screen, right? So let us see how the methods are going to be executed and how the constructors are going to be executed. See here, see the next point. Similar to the methods, constructors will also have parameters similar to the methods. Constructors will also have body, right? So other than these things, what are the different things that a constructor is going to have? Let us see each and every one, right? So constructor is a special type of method. Constructor do not have return type. Name of the method is same as class name, right? And then similar to the methods, constructors will also have parameters, right? If you want to maintain parameters here, and we can also maintain parameters here. And then similar to the body of the method, constructor will also have certain body. Okay, next one. Methods are executed when we call them explicitly. So when the methods are going to be executed, the methods will get executed when we call them, right? Unless and until we call the methods, those methods will not get executed, right? For example, in the program what we have written here, let us define main method of Java, and within this main method, let us create an object. Obj space a space obj equal to new a, and then if we want to execute this method, we need to call the method with the name of the method, that is obj.m. So this is what we have seen in the previous session, right? So here, as we said earlier, let us revive the things what we have discussed in the previous session also. Whenever the Java compiler observes the main and static keywords, it immediately creates certain amount of memory, not create certain amount of memory. It will reserve a certain amount of memory, right? In that memory, it will move the body of this one, the starting point to the ending point, into this memory. And because it is a main method, it will start executing the statements inside that body. So the first statement inside the body is that a space obj equal to new a. So here, whenever again the compiler sees the new keyword, it again creates a memory, or it again reserves a memory under the name of obj, because the object name is obj, and it will keep the non-statical methods and non-statical variables of a class. So here there is no static keyword in front of method m. So this method will be kept inside this obj. So remember the point, constructors will not be kept inside the object, right? So the non-statical methods and non-statical variables will be kept inside the object. See, if we want to execute the method m which was present in obj, we need to call it with obj.m. So if we don't write this statement, the method m will not get executed. So that is the point what we have discussed here. Methods are executed when we call them explicitly. So when we don't write this statement, the method will never get executed, right? If we want to execute the method any number of times, we can execute by calling the statement again and again and again and again. So we can execute this method for any number of times. If I want to execute this method for 3 times, I can make a call to that method for 3 times, obj.m, obj.m, and obj.m. And this point we can discuss later. Now let us see how the constructors get executed. So constructors are executed during the time of object, right? During the time of object creation. We cannot call them explicitly. We cannot call them explicitly. So when the constructors are going to be executed, constructors are going to be executed during the time of object creation. So whenever we write this statement, the meaning of this statement is we are going to create an object for class A. Whenever this statement got executed, immediately Java compiler is going to execute the constructor which was present in class A. So we cannot execute this constructor explicitly. That constructors will get executed automatically. When they are getting executed automatically, whenever we create an object for that class, those constructors will get executed automatically, right? So whereas in the case of methods, if we want to execute them, we need to make a call to them, that is, we need to execute them explicitly. But in the case of constructors, they are going to be executed, right? They are going to be executed automatically during the time of object creation, right? So now let us discuss next one. We can execute a method any number of times we want by calling multiple times. See here, we can execute a method any number of times by calling multiple times. See here, if I want to execute the method m for 5 times, I can execute it by writing the statement obj.m for 5 times. So 5 times the method m is going to be executed. But in case of constructors, we cannot execute constructor for many number of times on a single object. Here we have created only one object. With that one object only, we are trying to execute the method m for n number of times. But unfortunately, in the case of constructors, by creating just one object, we cannot execute a constructor for many number of times. What we have to do in order to execute a constructor many number of times, we have to create multiple objects to execute the constructor multiple number of times. So here 5 times we are executing the method m based upon a single object, but constructors cannot be executed multiple number of times on a single object. If you create a single object, the constructor will gets executed for single time. If you want to execute the constructor again, just create another object for the class. Now the constructor will get executed twice because we have created 2 objects. If I want to execute the constructor for 5 times, then what I have to do here is I have to create 5 objects. Right? I have to create 5 objects. See here, obj 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now the constructor is going to be executed for 5 times. Based upon a single object, we cannot execute the constructor multiple number of times. So let us see all the things after executing this one. So this is what we have seen. We have studied that. Come to the 6th point. We have seen that methods are executed when we call them explicitly. So let us remove this one. And save the code as a.java. a.java. Now just a second, we have already one program with a.java previously. Let us save the code with a.java. Okay, now compile the code. And now if I run the code, see here, good morning has been printed on the output screen. Good morning is printed on the output screen in the sense the constructor A got executed. See the 7th point here, constructors are executed during the time of object creation. We cannot call them explicitly. So whenever we write a code for an object, the constructor got executed automatically. But the method does not execute it automatically. When the methods are executed when we call them explicitly. So in order to execute this method m, we need to make a call that method m. How we can make a call that method m? In the sense, we need to call the method m with the object, right? So when we do this one, and when we save the code and compile and run the code, obviously the method and constructor both are going to be executed, and good morning and good evening both are going to be printed on the output screen. See here, right? Now let us check the next point, 8th point. We can execute a method any number of times that we want by calling multiple times. So if I want to execute a method m for 5 times, right? If I want to execute a method m for 5 times, I can simply execute it by calling the method for 5 times. If I save code and if I run the code, so it has printed, see here, it has printed good morning for 1 time, good evening for 5 times, right? On based upon a single object, we are calling the method multiple number of times, right? Next one, see the next point. We can't execute the constructor for many number of times. So see here, with this object, we can't execute the constructor for many number of times. What we have to do, we have to create multiple objects in order to execute the constructor for multiple number of times. So if we want to execute the constructor for n number of times, there is no option other than creating multiple objects for this constructor. See here, if I do this one, if I compile and execute this one, so good morning has been printed on the screen for 5 times, and then good evening is printed on the screen for 5 times, right? So this is how we can define a constructor and we can execute a constructor, right? So with this, I'm going to close today's session. In the next session, we are going to see about how constructors can be overloaded, right? And what are the different other properties. Till now we have seen about 10 properties regarding the constructors. So I am going to cover the remaining properties of constructors in the next class. Along with that, we are going to see about what is constructor overloading in the next class. So if anybody is having the doubts in today's session, I request you to please raise your hand. If anybody is having the doubts. $457.
Sir.
Cheppama.
Sir, Nenu Shivashankarni.
Cheppu.
Sir, 8th point of sir Japra.
8th point. Right, we can't execute a method any number of times. Just a second. We can execute a method any number of times that we want by calling. We can execute a method any number of times we want by calling multiple times. So see here, we have created one object. We have created one object here. With that object, with that single object, we are executing this method m by calling the method m for 5 times. If we want to execute the method m for 10 times, we can execute the method m for 10 times. If we want to execute the method m for 100 times, we can execute it by calling the method m for 100 times, right? So ఒక సింగిల్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ తీసుకొని ఆ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ తో మనకి కావాల్సినటువంటి మెథడ్ ని ఎన్నిసార్లు కావాలనుకుంటే అన్నిసార్లు మనం డైరెక్ట్ గా obj.m అని చెప్పేసి కాల్ చేసి ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. ఎందుకంటే ఇక్కడ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ నేమ్ obj కాబట్టి, రైట్? సో నెక్స్ట్ ఇంకా సో ఇంకెవరికైనా డౌట్స్ లేవా? Okay, then. Okay, thank you, and we will meet you in the next session with the concept of constructor overloading.